Hello everyone, and welcome on back to the channel. In today's video, we are doing a 1.19 Wilds Update inspired Swamp Village time-lapse and tour. I really love how this town came out, and I hope you do as well. We've really tried to capture that witchy, grungy swamp atmosphere. This is the area I have picked for our town, and I am so excited to get into this one. And coming in here with the very first build, we start off with this dark oak frame and figure out the shapes, then immediately start blocking it in. We are going a spruce body here with a dark oak trim for the roof. You can see I play around with the roof shapes a little bit, settle on this taller, more fantasy style, and block this in with our warped planks before we start to lock in the shapes that I'm really happy with a bit of that texture. This blue roof texture scheme is one of my favorites in the world at the moment. I think it's so fun and interesting to look at. Then of course we are bringing in some hanging lanterns, starting to add that composter and spruce trapdoor detail down there at the bottom, and then bringing in our texture on the walls, really giving it that weathered look with the stripped dark oak and all of that in there, and then starting to bring these docks onto the front to finish off the first build here in our swamp town. And then here we go, launching straight into the second build, and these two builds are kind of the builds with which we set the precedence for the rest of the town. We've got the tall blue roofs, the dark body, and over here we are trying more of the slanted roof, stacked style with a little bit of that moss that I really love. I love how that complements the blue roofs as well. I think the two roof types fit together very well. Bringing these docks in along the front, we've got that little bit of ruined bridge off to the side, which I think is very cute, though we do get rid of that much later on. And we are weathering up these walls once more, and this is something we do change a little later as well. We actually end up coming back to this build and swapping around the blocks we use on the body of it, but I do really like the roof shapes and styles. Here we are texturing up our moss with a bit of green concrete, green terracotta, and green concrete powder, adding a splash of the grass and ferns on top, which I really love, adds a bit of that overgrown vibe. And there we go, that is house number 2 done and dusted. And moving straight into the third build here for our swamp town. This is a much smaller build, just kind of something to fill this space over here, and we are again going with the dark bodied build, the blue roof, which we play around with a little bit and settle on this bit of a curved, little bit more fantasy style, but not quite as tall as our other roofs on the blue house, bringing again those hanging lanterns in that super cute weathered texture, and that is build number 3 done. And then we jump straight in here with our centerpiece build. Now this one I had clear inspiration for, but no real direction for the build itself. It was very inspired, the entire concept, by the Cinder Isles Tower over in the Echoes of the Eye Outer Wilds DLC that I really loved. I loved playing that one with you guys, and here we are trying to bring in that circular build style with the stilts, but I'm not really happy with it. We take a break from it, we move over here, and we come up with this little slanted roof design, again with that moss roof that I really like. We are stacking up these shapes, continuing to create a similar effect to our builds from earlier, and I end up quite liking this one, but we do again come back to this build and make some changes a little later. But before all of that, let's head back over to our circular build and play around with these shapes a little bit more. I love how this build turned out with everything we're about to do to it here. We are first making it quite a bit taller, and we add this bit of a dark oak overhang onto the roof, which I think was a great decision because it allowed us to show a little bit more of that blue on the top, making that upper roof bit a little bit wider. We make this a lot taller. We start bringing in the texturing now that we are actually happy with the shapes, and this is one of the builds here that I am the most proud of, simply because I've never really done a circular build in quite this style, and I really like how it came out. I would love to do more circular builds in the future. I think this is a super cute, very inspired piece. And then moving back over here, it is time for our block palette crisis. Thus far, I've been really feeling that too many of the builds in town, I really do love that spruce stripped dark oak scheme, but there's too much of it. It's been done, and I want to change something up. So here we go, designing this oak wall scheme instead, and we are bringing this in on our 2 moss roofed builds, a little splash of that stripped jungle wood, and I am loving how this is turning out way more now that we have a bit more variation in the town. And then onto this massive section of builds. We did all of these ones on stream together. It was a lot of fun, and we are starting to pull all of them in. We planned them out. We've again got the moss roofs with the oak body, and I really love this cute little build. This is where we start adding in some balconies and things onto our build builds. And another big thing that we did here was a few bridges connecting up these 3 builds over on this side of town, and here we go, creating the town in this one. The concept was a much taller build, kind of at the back. I love what we've done with the roof, where we have these 2 kind of arched shapes along the long side as well to really break up how big that roof is. But honestly, if there was any one build I had to change out of all of them, it would be this one. I think sometimes I rely a little too heavily on detailing to make a build look good, and that one, the actual base shape, is way too rectangular, way too simple for me, and I would love to make that a bit more interesting if I were to go back and do this again. But sometimes you just have to move forward instead of looking back, and here we are moving on to our next build. This is again one of these little stacked sets, the oak body, the moss roof. I'm really enjoying creating these little builds here in our swamp town, and I'd love to do similar stuff in the future in my survival worlds. Then just bringing the docks onto the front of this set of builds. You can see the bridges there, connecting some of them up, and there they are, all done. And now moving on to the outskirts of town. First, we are playing around a little bit with the frames and shapes for these builds, trying to create something I'm really enjoying. And then straight in here with the first of these builds, and perhaps my favorite out of them as well, this is our super cute little potion shop. We do the dark body but switch it up and go a moss roof on this one with these taller roof shapes as well. I love that we use the little gate block gate spine, the super cute potion sign at the front. I really like how this build came out. And then this little connecting piece is something I struggled with quite a lot. The concept was 2 bridges connecting together from that house there on the left and the potion shop over there on the right, and I wasn't quite sure how I wanted to link them up. I knew I wanted something here. I was trying these tower designs, but they were just taking up too much space. They were too big, it was looking too cluttered and heavy, so I wanted to move away from that a little bit. After trying and trying, we took a step back. I couldn't find anything I was liking, so we were going to take a little bit of a break, and we come over here onto this far side of town, and we start bringing in this super cute little fishing hut build. I add this little kind of fishing net piece there on the back. You can see the support logs for it right there on the left, and then we start bringing in our docks, our sign. And we do play around with these docks and their shape and everything a little later, so we leave them for now, and we make our way back over to our tower, where we tear it all down and we come up with a design I'm a lot happier with, starting by bringing in the bridges so that we can really design this build to fit its purpose, which is mostly to connect up these 2 builds. And we end up just creating this really fun shape where it doesn't quite have a roof, but it almost looks like it there at the back. We do come back and finish that up in a little bit, but first we get distracted. We head back over to the docks to play around with these ones. I was trying some bigger designs, but it all felt too much for a small fishing hut on the edge of town, so we settled for a much smaller dock shape, and we move over to the centerpiece build, add a little dock onto the front of that one as well, before we head back over to that little bridge connected tower piece, and we finish it up. We refine that point there quite a bit, add a splash of the blue to break up the moss roofs from either connected build, a little bit of greenery, a few more final details, some chains hanging down from these dark oak pieces, and there we go, finally something I like, and we are free to move on to the next build, which is just over here. We are going to be bringing in a kind of very fantasy inspired town library here. I was really thinking witchy atmosphere with this. We do this super fun staircase up the back, so the entrance into the library is here on the back side. We play around with blocks and shapes and colors. We settle for oak, these 2 little connected builds with blue on the roof of one, moss on the roof of the other. I think they are super cute. And then we come here from the front, we start adding some docks onto our potion house and that little fern herb shop over on the right, and then coming back to the front we start bringing in our town library details, and I really do enjoy this build. One of my favorite things about it might be that overhang of that segment. You can see the dark oak detailing of that down there at the front. I love all the windows along that upper section as well, and of course again that super fun blue roof texture scheme that I really do enjoy. I end up quite loving this library, and I hope you do as well. And that is that one done. And coming around here to the back of town for the final house, we will be adding, this one is our bee house, our beekeeping spot, our bee shop, whatever you would like to call it. I really enjoy the canopy we have here on this build, which houses our bees. I'll bring them in just a moment. I think that is so cute. And for this one we go the oak body with the blue roof scheme, so the opposite of what we did over on our potion house, just trying to play around with our walls and our roofs in terms terms of the coloring, bringing this big stretch of docks onto the back here to add a bit more access on this other side of town. And then here we go with the final build. This one is our tower overlooking the entire little village. I think this one is super duper cute, and of course this body is quite inspired by our docks watchtower over in First Light. We have this super cute moss roof on top with that dark oak detail, and we have this wonderful view over town from here as well, which I really do enjoy. And then it is time to start bringing the finishing touches into our wonderful little swamp village, and the most important and integral of those are these super cute custom swamp trees that I did up specifically for this town, but I would love to do in swamp environments again in the future. Very kind of weeping willow inspired. I love these long draping pieces of the leaves coming down from them, the hanging lanterns within them. I had so much fun pulling all these trees together, and we did every single one of these trees in the same 5.5-hour stream about a week ago. It was super fun to be able to hang out and chat with you guys while we were pulling all of these trees together. Thanks to everyone that did come by for that. That was an absolute blast. And here we are, just bringing in the next few of these. I was gonna say the final few, but there are actually still maybe even 5 more custom trees to go here. I really do enjoy just how much they add to the atmosphere though. Instead of just feeling like this was a town that was placed in the swamp, these trees really made it feel like this town was a part of the swamp. The swamp had not only grown into and around the town had grown into and around it, and I think that adds so much to the entire atmosphere. And here we are with my 2 favorite of the swamp trees. We've got this one here on the right that is growing into and through our building, and the one on the left on top of the roof. I think that is so fun, and I would love to play around with more organics integrated into my builds in the future. Then a few other final touches. Here we are doing a little bit of a walkway up on that cliff, and then bringing in another one of my favorite details here in the town. It is these strings of hanging lanterns over our main waterways. I think these really add so much to the atmosphere as well, and they're such a little detail, so easy to do, but they really change the entire vibe, and I love how this turned out. Then we add in a few little lampposts and everything around town, ensure everything is well lit, and start bringing in a few farms. Here on this side of town you can see we do this big netherwort farm, and over here by the Centerpiece Build we do a little wheat farm. Then as a final touch we get rid of all the clay, add some seagrass, play around with our lily pads, and we get rid of that ruined section of the docks and instead do this super cute little blue roofed bridge. And that is it. That is the entire swamp village done, so let's show it off with some shaders. Wow, I am so happy with how this place came out, and I hope you love it just as much as I do. This has just made me so stoked for the 1.19 Wilds update. I would love to even maybe do a transformation of this place when all of that is out, but I'm sure some of the things you have noticed are that we added a few things post time-lapse to this build. Most notably, a few of these tiny, very simple market stalls around the place on the docks, and these super fun, very witchy and swamp-inspired banners that I do just love, and we hung those ones all over town for that extra splash of color, and they really brought the place to life. Now, I thought it would be best to give this tour by boat the way the town was kind of designed to be viewed and seen, so we are going to take a little boating trip around the town. I built us this super cute tiny dock to start off our tour from, and here we go, straight into it, and coming up past our bee house, don't mind the lily pads, and boating in under our first few strings of these hanging lights covered in banners. I think that is so fun. Shout out to all the lily pads I'm destroying. I'm so sorry. But coming through here, we have a beautiful town, and I really am so happy with how this one turned out. Now, some of the main things you are able to kind of boat through around town, we have a few of these little dock places. We've got this tiny herbologist's shop, something along those lines. We have a little dye shop right here attached to that super cute house. Over by the potions shop as well, we added one of these little market stalls in under here. And I love that the vines have grown down from all of our trees now, really making this feel like a bit more of an overgrown place. But if we actually just fly over for a very quick look, this little shop right here is a tiny floating raft style shop. These are super cute. And if you want to pull together anything like this in your own worlds, super simple as well. We have this lower layer entirely of the spruce trapdoors, these corners with the dark oak wood, dark oak trapdoors on the sides, barrels along the front, spruce trapdoors around all the other edges, and a few little details on the inside. A chest, little bit of shelving, cauldron, too high on our dark oak fences with gates on either side, and then across the top we simply have a few stripes of our wool, a strip of carpets matching the wool down the middle, and banners along the sides. I think these are really so cute and they add so much to the town. Now back into our boat and pulling out from under the bridge there, don't want to get caught up in there. We also hung some banners from the bridge. I think that's so cute. And coming around this way, this is another one of our main boatways, simply because it's so fun to boat through under this big tree that I really love. We did these roots growing all the way down into the ground here, stretching up to this very tall tree. I love the effect of looking all the way up at this tree here. I think that's so fun. And coming a little further along, you can boat through under this overhang, straight over to this dock right here, where we swapped a few of these farms out. We did have all netherwort, but I thought it was a little heavy on the red, so we've grown a few potatoes and a few carrots instead. And kind of leaving our boat now, I'll do a quick fly around the rest of the place, and we have just added a bunch of final details in that really brought the place together. Also, we have a few of these super cute little swamp villages running around. Those are easily my favorite villages. I think they're absolutely adorable. And the outfit matches the banners so well. I'm very impressed with myself by this banner design. And we have just quite a lot of storage here on the docks, the chests, the barrels, the note blocks, and of course we did our favorite little trick. We hung a bunch of azalea plants and a few ferns from builds all over the town, and just continuing our little fly around, making sure we're not missing too much. Just down in there we have a secret door into the depths or something like that. It's definitely not just a blank wall in behind there. We have this super cute path that wraps from these back docks right here all the way up the mountain onto the walkway or up the back to our tower, which, flying up here and into the top, we have this super fun view over town. I really love how much these strings of the hanging lights with the banners on them add to the atmosphere of this place. They made it so fun to tour around at night, and I really hope you're enjoying getting to see this place in its full glory. Just over here, of course, we have our super inspired circle build that I left basically as we finished it in the time lapse. I did really like our end result here. We have beetroot on this farm instead of wheat now. I felt it fitted the witchy, swampy atmosphere just that little bit more. And we have this super cute little crystal shop here as well. We've got this little farmer man shopping and this little fisherman selling to him. Very cute. I love the purple wool and the little crystals hanging everywhere. I think that's so fun. And of course, we've got our inn here. Coming around the back of the inn, we actually have this little diagonal bridge going onto this path that would theoretically lead out of town and into the swamps that way. We also built this super cute little waterfall and broke it up with this tiny little bit of terraforming to catch some of the water and redirect it over here, just for a little bit of fun. No real purpose to it, I just thought it was a little bit cute. And coming around over here as well, over here at our fishing hut, we added one more of our little market stalls. This one is a tiny floating fish shop that I think is super duper cute as well. And bringing us in during the day here just for a final little look at this place, because I really think it looks so fun and it integrates so well into the swamp atmosphere. I really, really love this place. This has made me genuinely so stoked for the 1.19 update and to create some super fun, witchy inspired, swampy type builds. I think it's going to be an absolute blast when that update does come out. And in the meantime, Caves and Cliffs is out. Have you heard? I cannot believe it's already out. So many things to do, so many builds to create, and I am so excited to start that journey now that this pesky little swamp village is done. And by that I mean I love it and I'm very happy with it. And that is it for today's super duper fun Swamp Village time-lapse and tour video. I am so happy with how this video has turned out. I had so much fun pulling all the cinematic bits together, trying my hand at voiceovers and such for the very first time. It was an absolute blast, and I hope you enjoyed this project just as much as I did. Again, a big shout out to the people who stopped by on the stream while we pulled this whole build project together. It has been so much fun. And of course, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, let me know your favorite thing about today's super cute little swamp village build, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!